When I first started to feel like the Lord was leading me to write a book, I looked on Amazon for the 10 best-selling books on anxiety and depression because I had no interest in writing something in general, but especially if God had already put this message out there, then I was not just going to duplicate it. But as I looked at the top sellers, I'm not kidding you, these were the words in the 10 top-selling titles: End, Overcome, Conquer, Eliminate, Silence, Declutter, Change, Get Over, Take Control, and Calm Down. And I've read that list dozens and dozens of times, and it still surprises me that the overwhelming recommendation for us to fix our anxiety is to simply stop it. And I wish that was an option. I wish so badly that we could just turn it off and move on and calm down. But that's not true. That's not true, and I would go a step further or a few steps further and say that's not even biblical. Instead, the Bible teaches us our suffering and our faith can coexist. They have to coexist. We don't just need hope that our suffering will go away. We need hope that even in the midst of suffering, God is still good. In Jeremiah 15:10, we see one of the most vulnerable accounts in all of Scripture. Jeremiah says, "What sorrow is mine, my mother. Oh, that I had died at birth. I am hated everywhere that I go." This passage is probably the most significant passage in the conversation on mental health. Jeremiah is as depressed as anyone you'll ever meet. He feels the weight of the world. He feels unloved. He feels unworthy. He even goes as far as to say he wishes he would have died at birth. And when I first read that verse, I legitimately thought that God's response to Jeremiah would be frustration. I thought God would condemn him or tell him, "Jeremiah, stop feeling that way." I thought God would tell him to pray more, to give it over to God, or to do better. Maybe he would refer him to one of the books to help end, overcome, conquer, eliminate, or silence what he was experiencing. I thought that because those are all things that people had done dozens and dozens of times with me and through my life. But God's response is absolutely profound. He actually doesn't do any of those things, and he really doesn't tell Jeremiah to do a single thing. God immediately responds, and he says, "I will take care of you, Jeremiah." That's amazing. I was 33 years old when that verse sunk in for me. I've been in church my entire life and struggled with anxiety for over 20 years. I've had dozens and dozens of conversations with wise, loving Christian friends and church staff, and I've been given tons of advice on mental health, and I've never had someone point me to Jeremiah 15:10 and 11. I've never had anyone listen to my experience with depression and simply say, "There's someone a lot like you in the Bible, and you should read what God says to him."